the idea of trying to step into CNC and learning that really started weighing heavily on my mind, right? I've always been a manual machinist, third generation machinist, and I know how to do lathe work, mill work, but I felt like there's so much more out there. There's so much more capability that I'm seeing out there. I'm not immersed in it, but I'm seeing it. And I feel like I'm being left behind little by little. I see the ship sailing away. And I thought to myself, I really want to learn how to do something with the CNC. I don't know what it is yet, but I want to learn it.
Hey everyone, I'm Jonathan from Autodesk. Welcome to Shop Talk, the podcast series where we talk to engineers, makers, designers, and machinists from shop to shop. Today, we're speaking with Adam Booth of Abom79. He's a third generation machinist, and he's got so much to offer as far as help in understanding this world and getting into it yourself. Let's dive in. All right, Adam Booth of Abom79. Thanks for coming to the show.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Can you tell us who you are and where you're located?
Yeah, my name is Adam Booth, and most people know me online as Abom79 on all my social channels and YouTube. And I'm located in Pensacola, Florida.
Ah, the Redneck Riviera.
Yeah, some call it that down here.
I,
Yeah,
I know it
absolutely.
well. I grew up in Louisiana, and we went to Pensacola for vacation every year when I was a kid.
Oh, you
Um,
did? Okay.
yeah, yeah. My dad would always rent a house on is it Santa Rosa? That little key that's kind of, I forget the name
Yes,
of it.
Santa Rosa Island, but
Yeah.
it's also Pensacola Beach.
Yep. Yeah. Every year. Like, I mean, I had 20 years of my life. Yeah. Spending, a week every summer there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I obviously I grew up here, been here my whole life, and as a kid, I went to the beach, not all the time, but like in the summertime, I'd get out there. My aunts would take me and my cousins, and it was just for me, it was a way of life. This was what childhood was like. This is what growing up is like. We go to the beach, and when I was young, I didn't realize that like this is a place that people come to
Oh,
take
yeah.
vacations here. For me, it was just normal. It was normal to see the beaches and the sugar white sand and
Yeah.
the salty smell. I just grew up with it.
If you're not from there, you probably don't realize how nice the beaches are.
Right.
I've been to a lot of beaches all over the world, and they're kind of hard to beat, honestly. I mean,
Yeah.
the water is like a bathtub. On a good day, it's crystal clear. The white sand doesn't get hot. It's not like all rocky and grainy and scuffs up your feet and all that. It's a very nice place, and there's a lot of
We
good food.
have, yeah, we have absolutely beautiful beaches here, and I try to mention that as often as I can when I'm uh, talking to people that I kind of communicate with now, away from Pensacola. And anytime people have a chance to come down here because they need to come by the shop and visit me, I'll always tell them like, well, if you get a chance, drive out to Pensacola Beach and
Yeah.
check it out if you've never seen it because it's absolutely gorgeous, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's the I always kind of my perception of Florida growing up was very much a tourist kind of thing. So it's like this is that's where you go to vacation. It's where we went to vacation. People go to Disney World, like that whole thing. But I've never really thought of it as a manufacturing hub. So what was it like growing up there? Were you exposed to much manufacturing in that area?
I can't say that I was.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I really wasn't aware of manufacturing in the way that I am now. I grew up knowing that my dad had a machine shop, and I
Oh,
got to spend a lot of the summers in there with him, mainly because he, wanted help cleaning the shop up and cleaning the
yeah.
chips out of the machines. But
Okay.
I wasn't aware of all the manufacturing here until I kind of got into the trade working with my dad whenever I, turned 18
Mhm.
and started learning about some of the other shops around town. And it seems like I don't really have much communication with a lot of the other businesses in the region, but I have learned that there's quite a few machine shops here on the northern Gulf Coast now. In um, the I would say the Tri-County area here. There's quite a few machine shops here, and I think a lot of them are actually production shops and shops that have government
Hmm.
contracts, that kind of stuff there. So there's actually very few job shops more related to what I do with my work. Most places you go to is CNC shops that are going to take on volume production type work.
Yeah, I would imagine the naval presence there is probably a big thing, right? There's a big Navy base in the area. I grew up. My favorite thing about going to Pensacola when I was a kid was at the end of the trip on our way home, we'd go to the Naval Aviation Museum, and that's really how I got interested in engineering. I still to this day just mind blowing to be able to sit in like every cockpit of every Navy plane. Yeah, it's such a cool place. Were you inspired by that place too?
Yeah, I've got early memories of going there whenever I was a young child. My mom took us out there a couple different summers, and I got to say, it's over the years that museum has grown tremendously. They've added on to it a lot, and it is a fabulous museum. And that's another one of the places that I recommend people go to if they travel to this area for a couple of days. I'll tell them that you got to go to the museum out there. It's free. They don't even
Yeah.
charge an entrance fee. They ask for donations if you feel like making one, but it is a free museum, and it's amazing how much they have there.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. And another interesting fact about NAS Pensacola that some people may not be aware of is that's the home of the Blue Angels.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the cool thing about living here is that almost every day we get to watch them practice or we
Uh-huh.
hear them practice.
Yeah.
Usually around 10:30, 10:45 in the morning, I'll in the shop here, I'll start hearing the roaring. I'm like, oh, well, there's the Blues. And my wife and I, we usually go to lunch about 11 o'clock. And every time we go to lunch, we'll see them flying down, just south of us there. And it's sometimes they fly just directly right on top of us when we're down there at lunch. It's really cool to be able to see those on the almost a daily basis, here in Pensacola.
Yeah, I mean that's you're exposed to a lot of really cool engineering, manufacturing kind of stuff just being there, I would think growing up. So but your dad was a machinist and he had a shop. So did you kind of is that must be how you learned, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm actually a third generation machinist.
Ah,
My granddad was a machinist, and my dad was obviously, and my granddad built the shop in 1972, and they opened up that summer of 72 and put my dad to work and just doing job shop. It was always just whatever came in the door. A lot of industrial repair work. That's kind of what I've always classified it as general industrial machining, not so much manufacturing and not so much production work. But we did a little bit of everything. So a lot of the local utilities in the county, came to us. We were always fabricating, machining, or repairing things for them. A lot of the construction companies in town brought things to us. Some of the other businesses in town would have us make, shafts a lot, shafts that needed keyways and features machined in it. So we did a little bit of everything is kind of what our shop traditionally did. And dad brought me on when I was 17. This was in 1997, just before I graduated high school. He wanted me to come and work for him. And I was happy to go and work because I was ready to get out in the world and and work a real job. And he wanted me to come and work and I did and I just kind of fell in love with the trade. I really did. I started learning about what all these machines were and what all these tools are used for. And there was so much history in that shop that I think my dad kind of took it for granted, but somebody young and hungry going into it, I started learning about all of this different stuff, and I just really fell in love with it, and I felt like I had a bit of a knack for it, the lathe work and the mill work, so I just stuck with it, and I never left, and it's just kind of continued to do well for me and build into what I have today.
have you branched out considerably from what your dad was doing as far as the clients he was taking in?
I think for me, for personally, what's happened with me is I've kind of downsized over the years. He retired in 2012, and it was at that point that he was just ready to be done with it and retire. So he sold off a couple of our big machines that we had. We had a big lathe and a big horizontal bore mill. Sold those off, and then there was a couple other machines that he sold, but he let me keep the rest of it and bring it home, and that's what created the home shop, which is what you see, which was what the start of the YouTube channel was there at the home shop. It was the following year that I got into doing YouTube. So I built up that shop there with the intentions to just kind of carry on some of that work from our customers that we had. But I didn't have the capacity that I once had when I was working with him full time to do the same type of work. So I was limited on what I could fit in my milling machine and my lathes there. So I kept a few customers around. You know, they kept coming to me, and I was helping some of them out. But we just kind of gradually kind of grew into more of I was doing a lot of projects, you know, for myself and for people that saw the channel. I had people reaching out all the time that was emailing me. They have this project, they have this part that needs to be fixed, and I was kind of enjoying that aspect of that type of work. And it still carries true to today as well. I still have people contact me that need work done, and so a lot of the work that I do is work from outside of town. You know, people that actually box something up and they send it to me. But I do have a few customers in town here that I still help out occasionally. It's not every day, but I have a few people that keep me busy. And the welding shop, which is next door, whenever they have major machining needs, they always call me and ask me, can I help get this stuff done? And I do.
Mhm.
And I got a few other people in town that I still do work for on occasion. It's like I said, it's not all the time. And then I have my project work that keeps me busy, and I try to share all that on the YouTube channel,
Mhm.
and just really whatever comes in the door, you know.
But one of the things I really like about your videos is that it's not, you feel like as a viewer, you feel like an apprentice. I feel like I'm there and here's this guy who's a very patient teacher slowly walking through everything. It's
Yeah.
like this, okay, if I actually wanted to learn how to do this, I would just watch your videos, right? And I'm sure that's how you've built your following, right? I mean, your viewers must say the same.
Yes, I've been hearing that since the beginning of the channel, and right from the get-go, when I started recording videos and making them for YouTube, I always tried to make my videos in an educational way, so that the people that are watching can hopefully learn what it is that I'm trying to share, and I'm trying to teach others. Knowing that some people are simply watching for entertainment, some people are actually watching to learn. And I have been amazed at how many times I've people have contacted me or even just mentioned either an email or a comment about everyone that learns from watching my videos. It's simply amazing. I've had word from several colleges and tech schools
Yeah.
that use some of my videos as part of their curriculum. Like I think they watch these little segments of the video, and they said it helps apply real world manual machining techniques or even shop techniques to what it is that they're trying to teach students, or these students are trying to learn. So
Yeah.
people have always told me that they get a lot out of the videos because I do try to explain everything. And that's how I feel whenever I record my videos. I feel like it doesn't feel right to just blow through a project and not share the techniques that I'm using, or try to explain a little bit of it as I go, you know.
That's how I learned machining, right? Was on manual tools.
Okay.
And then CNC came later. That's something I learned, when after I came to Autodesk, I'd used, like CNC routers before and laser cutters and stuff like that I was doing woodworking, that kind of thing. Um, Prototyping, that sort of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that happens when you're learning machining, you're learning CNC, is that if you watch a video, this probably applies to just about anything, but you watch a video of someone explaining to you how to do it, and when you rely on quick editing for everything, it makes it look easier than it is or quicker than it is. and then you start getting discouraged because you're like, oh, this is I'm hitting another snag here or whatever. But the way you do them, it's there's all these little things. It's almost like a your internal monologue comes out. And there's all these little details along the way that make a big difference if you're, if you're just learning this on your own. Um, I think it's a big service really to the industry, because something we hear all the time from our customers is there is a frightening lack of new talent coming in to do this kind of work. Like we've got customers, um, there's one customer up in the Great Lakes area that has gone entirely from manufacturing, which they were successful at and busy, to just training, because they've realized like there are so few people coming up and replacing the retirement generation right now. So good on you for putting it out there. I mean, there's going to be a lot more people that are going to be capable in this kind of stuff. I'm curious about where did CNC start to be part of the equation? Because if you're a one man shop, I mean, you kind of have to have CNC, right? Like, there's no way you'd be able to run around to every machine, and maybe just the time it would take would be too much, I would think, right?
Well, the CNC stuff came about. This was a few years ago. I'd have to really think about it, but it was, I want to say, going on 3.5 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, is when the idea of trying to step into CNC and learning that really started weighing heavily on my mind. Right. I've always been a manual machinist, third generation machinist, and I know how to do lathe work, mill work, but I felt like there's so much more out there. There's so much more capability that I'm seeing out there. I'm not immersed in it, but I'm seeing it. And I feel like I'm being left behind little by little. I see the ship sailing away. And I thought to myself, I really want to learn how to do something with the CNC. I don't know what it is yet, but I want to learn it and see if I can apply that to not only my content, but the work that I can provide for customers, which is now leading into making products for my brand here as well. But the idea started probably about 4 years ago, if I had to just kind of round it off. And I had the opportunity to lease this space that I'm in now. It was a building that was going to be built, and it's a business park, so there's a lot of businesses in here. But this particular space was available, and I decided to go ahead and jump into it. I said I want something new. I wanted some more space because my home shop, I was very limited on the home shop. I really couldn't add any kind of big machines. It had a really low garage door, so it would be really hard to put any kind of CNC machine in there. I just didn't have any more room, and I couldn't build onto it because the county here has lots of zoning laws, and it was already at max capacity. They were not going to let me add on to that shop, or I would have built onto it, but they said nope, can't add on to that. So this shop became available, so I leased it, and that's when I started deciding to, okay, let's jump into some CNC stuff. I feel like it's taken me a little while to learn all this stuff, and there's still a lot to learn. I feel like I'm just stepping into it, right? But I know enough now that I can go out to the machines and do some work and make some parts with some help there. I still rely on my friend Kevin, mechanicaladvantage.com.
Oh yeah.
He is who I use to learn. He teaches me Fusion. So every time I have a job or a project that I want to start, I get with him. We get together. We do a Zoom, and he walks through it with me. He's teaching me how to use Fusion,
Yeah, you couldn't
and,
ask for
and
a better teacher.
he
Kevin's
he's
top
he
notch,
is
man.
he's so smart,
Yeah.
and understands Fusion so well, and he makes sure that whenever I want to do a project that it's done correctly.
Yeah.
We're using the correct tool paths. We're building the model correctly. And he's a great teacher because he has a lot of patience. So like a lot of times I don't understand something, and he'll ask me, okay, do you understand that? I say, no, I don't get it. Okay, well, let's back up. Let's do that again. So he walks me through it every time I have a project. It's been great that he's been helping me learn this whole CNC thing.
So Renishaw is one of our partners. We have a lot of partners in the CNC world, and their coordinate measurement machines, CMMs, um, can basically probe an entire part and give you geometry from that. So they have a machine. We had it in the factory at AU a couple years ago. It's about the size of like one of those large Delta 3D printers. Think of that, right? So I don't know, like three feet tall, maybe 24 inches in the base. That you can put a part on this thing, and it's got a probe on one of those Delta actuators, and it just goes beep, 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 and gives you points all over this part. And then all of those are digitized, and you get solid geometry out of it. So in some ways, that's probably better for what you're doing than 3D scanning would be. 3D scanning maybe is the kind of thing where like I mean, the places I've seen it done are, like I said, die cast things where it's the geometry is so complicated that you're not getting a lot of, like it's almost there's too much change in the geometry the features are too complicated for
Yeah.
a measuring machine that is looking for things like cylinders and flat surfaces and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that might be a good place to start, just in like the reverse engineering stuff, which is something that I don't know. There's a lot of potential there, I think, with what you're doing because you've already got these people coming to you with asking for you to reverse engineer something and add some feature.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool. I've seen a few of those machines out there in the wild. I think I saw a little bit at the last IMTS that I went to. But at my previous job, they actually bought one for the mechanics there. They did gearbox repair. And on those gearbox housings, everything has to be measured and documented, and there's lots of bearing fits that have to be measured. And so they ended up one of the mechanics that was there at the time wanted to invest in a ferro arm,
Mm-hmm.
um, and and so they actually had the ferro arm was used to measure,
Mm-hmm.
and then they also had a scanner, like I think like what you were talking about. But I think they were when I was there, they were still trying to figure out how to use the thing,
Yeah.
But the Faro arm was pretty cool because it was an articulating arm that you could come in and measure these cylinder bores with,
Mm-hmm.
and it would shoot out a dimension. And they wanted to use that to kind of more accurately measure a lot of these dimensions instead of just someone, relying on an inside micrometer and a micrometer to measure that.
Yeah.
So I've seen that, but that's about all I've seen. Once I left there, I haven't been around it. But yeah, I mean, I'm really enjoying all this CNC stuff and learning about this. So I would always welcome something like that in the shop too, especially if it's something a little more smaller,
Yeah.
and that we could have some fun with, and especially for some of these custom projects that we work on. Yeah.
Speaking of your machines, though, can we get a tour?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we can take a walk around and show you what we have in the shop. We just added two more Miltronics machines.
Awesome. Let's check it out.
All right, so we're just walking out into the shop. Over here to the right, we've got our uh, fireball welding table, and these are some of my drill indexes right here that we're hopefully getting ready to sell pretty
Red
soon.
anodized.
Yeah, we got some
Nice.
in anodized red. We got some green there. So we're just getting ready to start boxing all these guys up pretty soon and getting ready to put those on the market.
Cool.
Um, so anyway, this is first coming out. We've got our hide mech saw there, and then if we pan this way, this is kind of looking out into the whole machine shop area there.
Oh man, look at that crane.
Oh yeah,
Awesome.
we got a Gorbel 2-ton jib crane in here.
Wow. Yeah, you could lift a car with that thing.
Yeah, it'll pick up these manual machines in here for sure.
Nice.
You want me to walk around and just kind of quickly show you what we
Yeah.
got?
Show us what you
Okay.
got.
All right. We'll start with the manual side. This is my manual department right here. Precision Matthews TL1660 lathe. I absolutely love this lathe. It's very smooth running, very easy to operate. If anybody's in the market for a good new manual lathe, I'd highly recommend them.
Nice.
So we've got the manual lathe there, and then this is my manual milling machine here. This is a KBC mill, 10 by 54, 40 taper spindle on here. It's
Mhm.
got a DRO. and it does a great job. Done a lot of projects on that mill.
Nice.
We got some toolboxes here. This is a big toolbox full of a lot of my lathe related tooling and taps. This one's for this milling machine here. But as we
So
step a
Adam,
little further back, yeah, go ahead.
could I ask you to open a random drawer? Just pick one and open it.
Sure. How about we do the red box here?
Okay. Yeah, pretty organized. Doing
there's some
pretty
of
good.
our there's some of our drill bits and taps right there.
Yeah.
I run the Greenfield Industry, so Cleveland and Chicago Latrobe. That's the majority of what I have in my box here.
Yeah.
These are some really cool sets of drill bits right here. These are the metric set right here.
Hmm.
And what I love about this is that it gives you the decimal equivalent as
Nice.
well as the metric size.
Yeah.
So
That makes your life easier. The reason I ask is that it's as a one man shop, there's always the question of like, well, do I really need to be that organized? I'm the only one using this stuff, so as long as I know where it is, right? But yeah,
well,
the
it
problem is you
does.
don't always know where it is.
Yeah, and sometimes you end up hiding something from yourself.
Yeah.
It happens to us all the time. But I have a pretty good sense of where I keep most things, but occasionally I do kind of forget where I put something. Um, but like this box here, for example, is we've got tooling related to the manual machine that goes in here, the NMTV 40 taper tool holders and end mills, a lot of there's some more cutters. We got collet sets here. I run a lot of TMX stuff.
Yeah.
But there's so like this is a lot of your for me, this would have been old school traditional type tooling here that not a lot of people run anymore. It's all like high speed steel,
Yeah.
cutters. But I keep an assortment because this is perfect tooling for the manual mill
Hmm.
right here.
Hmm. Yep.
So
Nice.
but as we get along the back wall, this is where all of our CNC equipment is at. I'm just going to start here. This is our new CNC lathe. This is the SL8,
Hmm.
and
Nice.
I'm still getting familiar with it. I'm still kind of like actually setting it up. I haven't run any jobs on it yet, but I'm kind of gearing up to. We got a flex arm over there, skyhook used to
Nice.
take some of the accessories on and off the machine. This is a big helper tool in the shop is the
Hmm.
skyhook.
Nice.
Sump shark for cleaning out the coolant sumps.
Oh, you do that yourself. Nice.
Yeah, yeah, it works great. So this is our new mill. This is the VM 3018, and I'm actually setting up now for the very first job. I want to run production over here on our drill indexes, so I'm setting this guy up right now. And these are our new Toolex vices. I've got the left side vice machined,
Uh-huh.
and I'm getting ready to machine this. So this will be op one. This will be op two for our drill indexes.
Nice. You could
And
probably fit 4 ops on there if you wanted to. That's a big table.
yeah, most certainly can. And that's kind of the goal is being able to invest in more work holding. We
Yeah.
all know that this stuff it's expensive. You can only do so much at a time. So
Yeah.
we're going to start with these guys right here, and then hopefully, as we kind of get more involved and get a little bit better down the road, maybe we can add another vice to the machine here and up the production a little bit.
Yeah. Nice.
This is the mill that we started with right here, and this is the mill that I've really learned how to do much of my CNC work is the TRM, and it's been an excellent mill. And I have the my prized Kaiser air compressor out here,
Nice.
my 5C air tower. Absolutely love this machine. This is the American pacemaker. This is my wartime machine,
Yeah.
built in 42, I believe it was.
Look at those castings, man.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
this is a
Beefy.
big machine. It's a 20 by 96. But with most of these old lathes, you can swing a little bit more than what the catalog size is.
Yeah.
But we got a nice big 4-jaw chuck, which is my bread and butter. The 4-jaw tailstock big enough you have to, have the hand crank here to move it.
Yeah. I
You
love
have to
that
have the
like
crane to move the steady rest.
I love that 1940s streamlined look, like just because it looks cool.
Me too, man. I
You
mean,
know?
the American Pacemaker is one of my favorite vintage lathes of all time. I'm also a Monarch guy. I own a Monarch, but the Pacemaker, they did such a just a beautiful job at designing this machine.
Look at that.
Yeah,
It's almost
it's
Art Deco. It's so
yeah,
cool.
exactly.
Yeah, I went to the Ames Research, the NASA Ames Research facility one time. And of course they had a bunch of gigantic cutting edge CNC machines, but they also had a bunch of stuff from the 40s that they still used because it works just fine. And
Yeah.
they're why replace it? Yeah.
Well, this is really great for if you've got a lot of heavy turning to do, if you've got gearbox shafts to do, hydraulic cylinders, hydraulic rods, big components like that, or anything that just requires a lot of swing. I mean, these machines are great for that. So when I have work that comes in here that requires manual lathe work, this is what I go to, and this is part of my heritage. And while I'll always have manual machines in my shop, I'm not just going in. I'm not going to be just CNC. I'm always going to have manual machines in my shop because I want to be able to jump between whatever machine I want to use. And as far as the channel and the content goes, this is the kind of stuff that people love seeing. They love watching this kind of stuff. It's a sweet machine. So this is the shop. I mean, this is the shop tour.
All right, Adam. Thanks so much, man. You got a great shop. It's a really interesting story. I think the audience is going to love it.
Well, you're very welcome, and thank you for having me on, asking me to come on and join you. And it's been a pleasure talking to you guys. I've enjoyed it. There is a lot of videos on the channel for the gearbox shaft, so if you look there, there'll be some stuff with that old American Pacemaker making those big old heavy passes on there.
Nice. Yeah, we'll check it out for sure. Good stuff, man. Thanks so much, Adam. Really great conversation, dude.
Yeah, I absolutely enjoyed it. So
okay.
Thanks again for having me on, and I guess I'll sign off and talk to you guys later then, huh?
Sounds good.
All right.
Have a good one, brother.
Yeah, you too. See ya.
See ya. Hey everyone, Jonathan here. If you're a designer, builder, or maker and you want to be part of this podcast, we'd love to hear from you. The email is in the video description below, so please introduce yourself and let's connect. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay up to date with all things Shop Talk. If you're ready to try Fusion 3 yourself, find the link in our description.